Currently, we're about a week past the announcement that Akira Toriyama, the creator of Dragon Ball Z, passed away. And in that wake of the announcement, we have all been in the anime community kind of reflecting on his stories and the things they've taught us. They have taught us so much in life about family and friendship and being persistent and how to conquer giants. And today on Geek Devotions, we're going to be talking about that very lesson, how to conquer some of the biggest giants in your life. Hello, Devoted Geeks, and welcome to Geek Devotions, a show from Devoted Geeks who are devoted to letting you know that you're loved. I'm Dallas. I'm so glad you've hit the play button today. If you're new to our show, we take geek pop culture items like movies, video games, comics, and we use them to let you know that you're loved. So if you don't watch past this moment, know this: we love you. We care about you. There is a plan and a purpose for your life. Do not give up. As I said in my intro, we're about a week removed from the announcement that Akira Toriyama passed away, and I've been reflecting and thinking about just all my great memories of watching Dragon Ball Z, all the way back to when I was a kid watching it on a black and white channel with bunny ear TVs, trying to figure out just what's going on, because this was new to me. I had never seen this kind of anime before. I'd never seen Dragon before, and I was picking up in the middle of the Raditz saga, and I was so intrigued by it all. Towards the later half of the series, though, there was this big event called the Cell Saga, where this evil android named Cell had came out to basically, destroy the world, as you do. And the Z fighters are preparing for this fight. They have been buffing themselves up. They have been training, working hard. Goku and his son Gohan go into this isolation time chamber where they train even harder, and they are ready to rock and roll for this fight. And unfortunately, it doesn't look good. Like, Cell is just ridiculously OP, and Goku's fighting him, and it looks good. Like, Goku's holding his own. It looks like it's gonna be great, and then he just stops the fight. He just goes, pause. And then he does something dumb. He takes a sensu bean, which is this little magical bean that gives people full health, gives it to Cell, goes, here, try this, buddy. Then goes to his son and goes, tag, you're in, have fun. What's happening here? Not a Parent of the Year award. Or is it? We talk about that actually in our special Patreon episode that just dropped today. GeekDevotions.com if you want to hear about that. So he offers up his son to fight the rest of this battle, which is crazy. It's insane. And Gohan, he does all right. He's holding his own for a little bit and looking pretty good, but then there's a kind of a big turn and he's hurting. Like, he's really struggling. They're in the midst of this final big blast attack, and it does not look good for Gohan, the Z fighters, and the rest of the world. At the height of the drama, when it looks like there's just absolutely no hope, something happens. Something really interesting happens. Goku starts to talk to Gohan. Now, this doesn't sound weird, except for he's dead. By this point, he's died and he's in the other world with King Kai. But he starts to talk to his son. He starts to communicate with Gohan. And he begins to speak life into him where there was none, where there was despair and there was tragedy and there was fear and there was doubt. Goku's going, hey son, you're gonna make it. There's something more to you. There's something else that you haven't let go. And I believe in you. I put you in this situation because I know that you can do this. And you've been holding back because of various reasons, but there's something greater. You don't give up. You've got this. And together they're fighting now. Cell, father and son. Gohan has come to his breaking point, but now, because he has the backing of his father, reminding him of the training that he's had, reminding him of who he is, suddenly there's this bolster of strength. He's able to push past this giant that's in front of him. Conversation of someone who's weaker fighting this giant is not new. In fact, it's a popular conversation that we have through society of David versus Goliath. You hear it all times in sports arenas and different things. Why? Because we really like this underdog story of this weak, small person fighting a giant and overcoming impossible odds. And that's what's happening in this moment. Gohan is the proverbial David fighting Goliath, who is Cell, and he's come to a point where he needs help. And this reminds me greatly of the story, for obvious reasons, of David and Goliath found in the book of 1 Samuel. In chapter 17, you have this really interesting situation take place where you have this giant of a man, a Philistine, who literally has the rest of the world scared. Like all the Israelites are they're terrified. They don't know what to do. This guy is impossible to fight, not unlike what Cell has done to the rest of the Z fighters. And now David enters the fray and David sees something different. David's like, no, we're not playing this game. I'm not going to let this person defame my God, defame my people. I'm not going to do this. I'm going to step up. And of course, everyone's looking at him like, you are a runt, dude. You are tiny. I'm not sure about this. But as he talks with the king, he convinces, he's like, look, I am a shepherd and I have sat protecting my sheep and I have fought lions and bears. Oh my, it got wild and I survived. So the king, he's like, well, I mean, let's rock and roll, kid. And he tries to give David all this stuff. And David's like, I don't need your sword. I don't need your armor. I don't even know how to use this stuff. I will use the tools that I have as a shepherd, the things that I've been training with all my life, and I will take care of the giant before me. And he stands before the giant in chapter 17, and he's just calling him out. He's like attacking him. And David says something interesting. In verse 45, he says, you come to me with a sword and with a spear and with a javelin, but I come to you in the name of the Lord of hosts, the God of the armies of Israel, whom you have defiled. In this statement here, David's standing here going, look, I'm not here just on my own. I'm coming in my identity as a child of God, as a member of this nation of Israel, yes, but in the name of God, the Lord of hosts, and he's backing me up. He's going to help me in this situation. And David does something crazy. Whereas the enemy's coming out with a giant sword and all this bravado, David picks up 3 stones, loads his slingshot, takes out Goliath. Done. Where did this confidence come from? It came from a couple of places. One, it came from his training as a shepherd. Again, he stood facing lions and bears and protecting his sheep with a slingshot, with a rod, his entire life. Now, I need you to understand, shepherds, they're not necessarily people that are like really well celebrated. They're just shepherds. They smell like sheep. They're in the dirt, they're in the fields all day. They're not people you hang around with on a regular basis. But it is this lowly shepherd who steps up using the training that he had given, because God put him in a situation to be trained to do that. And then walking in his identity, he's able to conquer this Goliath that's in front of him, this behemoth of a person in front of him. Gohan in the series, he's standing in front of a Goliath. He's standing in front of Cell, and he's walking in as best he can in his identity. He's been struggling this entire time. And one part that he's trained under his father, and he's worked with his father, and he's also carrying the kind of the coats of his colors of his adopted father, if you will, Piccolo. And he's fighting. He's doing his best. But there's still something he's holding on to. He's holding back. And then when his father comes to him and says, hey, I really do believe in you. There are things that you are holding back on. I need you to live in the identity that I've given you. You are my son. You are Gohan. There is so much more to you, and you don't even know it. You need to walk in this. Stop holding back and go full force. This Goliath that's in front of you cannot stand if you live in the identity that is real, that is truly with you, and walk in this. You are facing Goliaths. Some of you right now, some of them, they're emotional Goliaths. Some of it's depression, some of it's fear, some of it's various other things. Some of you are facing impossible Goliath situations with finances and other job situations. And maybe there's people in your life that you're scared to face. There's things that you just don't know how to handle. And there's things that are causing you to shrink back because you're unsure of what to do. And God is saying, you are my son. You are my daughter. Walk in the identity that I have for you. Walk in victory. I have been preparing you for the situation your entire life. You don't realize it, but I have. I've given you skills. I've given you resources. Some of those skills and resources are the community that I've placed you in. There are men and women of God that I've put in your life that will help you walk this out. Now walk it out. Walk in the identity that I've given you. And know that I'm with you. Know that there is peace, that there is hope, that there is victory at your fingertips. Just walk in the identity I have with you, my son, my daughter, and you will see victory. It's not easy. I'll be the first to admit it. It's not easy sometimes. When you're overwhelmed by everything going on, it's not easy to hold on to that identity and to walk in those things. Like I said, the training that you have that's been given to you, it's not just physical things. It's situations. It's people in your life. There are people that God has put in your life, pastors, friends, other individuals who will there to hold you up in your time of need, to help you walk this out, to help you walk in victory. There are situations that you've been in that have taught you how good God is and how he has gotten you through things, situation. You have to remind yourself of those things. Those are just other stones that go in your slingshot as you take on this Goliath that's in front of you. You need to be grounded in community. You need to be grounded in prayer and worship and all these things, but then you have to do something very specific. You have to push through. You have to take the appropriate steps. For some of you, that may be removing certain things, maybe removing certain people, and maybe putting stuff that you love, that you care about, to the side. In the series, Gohan had to push past the idea of, if I go full force, perhaps things will happen. And Goku goes, hey, we can fix everything on the back end of this. The Dragon Balls will fix it. God will restore what he needs to restore. If you have a Goliath in front of you, walk it out and overcome it. Walk in the identity that God has for you. Question of the week for you guys. What is your Goliath that you had to overcome? Leave a comment down below and let us know. Why am I asking this? Because it kind of leads into another episode that we put out in our Patreon exclusive, which is talking about how there's stuff that you've been equipped with and God's going to use that to help other individuals. And your testimony that you share about overcoming Goliath will help those who they're facing their own Goliath right now that's very similar to yours. If you'd like to see that Patreon exclusive before I release it into the main feed, I want to encourage you guys, go to our website, geekdevotions.com, and click on our support page to discover how you can become a devoted Patreon geek. Our patrons help us on a weekly basis. They really do. Thanks to them, we're able to afford the materials we use to create these devotions. They help us to get the equipment that we're using. They help us do other cool things like go to cons. Celeste and I are going to be at GeekCon in August, and we are super excited to be there, to love on people, to encourage people, to talk to cosplayers and other individuals who just need a moment of peace. Someone to look them in the eye and go, you know, I love you. You're loved. You're cared for. And you're going to make it. And our patrons, they're the reason why we're able to do that. The reasons why we're able to go and be part of these things, and we appreciate them so extremely much. Now, that being said, some of you're like, I can't help you get financially, Dallas. I understand that. That's cool. You know how you can help us? Hit the like button on this video. Share this out. Share it with other individuals. Take this very devotion and use it yourself in another case. You could take my name off of it. I don't care. It's not about me. It's not about Celeste. It's not even about the brand Geek Devotions. It's about people knowing that they're loved and they're cared for. So take this and use it with my permission, ladies and gentlemen. Now, fun fact, the reason why I did this devotion, this is actually kind of a rework of one from episode 2 from like 2017. And don't go watch that one because the audio's atrocious. But I want to say this to those of you who are in the animated community. I know that the passing of Akira Toriyama took us all by surprise, and you're hurting for one fashion or another. It's a Goliath for you right now, the emotions that you're dealing with. But let this episode be a stone in your satchel as you take on this Goliath. You're not alone. There are other geeks and nerds out there who love you, who care about you, and they understand the pain. And we're all praying for each other. We're all encouraging each other as best we can. So, ladies and gentlemen, until next time, stay devoted. Peace and love.